There we go, I guess. All right. So far, so good, I hope. Yes, folks, I know I've started a few minutes early. That's largely because I'm just trying to get a jump on this right now. Just getting together my chicken dredge. Uh, and I just dropped a shell in the, there it is. That wasn't so bad, thank goodness. In this way as well, can test to make sure that my sound is working. I am once again using that wireless mic. As far as I could tell, everything should be working. And if you are not able to hear this, folks, I'm sure you would be letting me know, or at least I hope so. Okay. Ugh. Fried chicken makes such a mess. If it didn't taste so good, it was a question whether it'd be worth it, but it does taste good. So I've also been doing my best to try to clean up my mess as I go along so that there will not be this gigantic pile to clean up at the end here. In fact, we've got everything just about ready at this point. The chicken's here, ready to be dredged. Here is the flour dredge, as I mentioned already. I'm just starting my chicken dredge right now. The egg wash, anyway. Hello, Rick. Hello, Granny. Like I said, I'm a couple minutes early. I'm going to give the official welcome, so to speak, at 8 o'clock, like always. So, not to worry. As I said, I just started a little early. Hello, RT Scott. All right, there's the first thing. Okay, there are 5 eggs here. I hope that's enough for all this chicken. Granted, I do have another big pack of eggs that I still have to break open. So, hopefully that'll be enough. Now, to these eggs, we add a little bit of smoked paprika and just a dash of hot sauce, in this case, sriracha. There we go. Just for the heck of it, did you know that sriracha sauce, yes, it is actually made in America? It's actually made in, I believe, New Jersey, of all things. And it is actually delivered from there to all of those Chinese supermarkets and the international sections of your grocery stores. So, all right. Hope that's enough. There we go. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom. Meanwhile, where did my temp gun go? Here it is. And I'm seeing this right. I better up the burner a little bit. The oil is at almost 300, which is good, but not good enough. In fact, rather than that, let's see if I can dig out this thermometer. Okay, good. And we have, and make sure this is Fahrenheit. $232. This, on the other hand, says 284. No, that now we're getting somewhere. Okay, we're at almost 300. So hopefully in just a few minutes, we will be able to fry some chicken. Which means What happened yesterday? Work happened, unfortunately. That's what I get for having a full time job. I had a work project that I absolutely had to finish yesterday evening. And furthermore, I was on the work pager last night, meaning that it was entirely possible the live could have been interrupted. So that seems to happen about once a month. All right. I think we are doing good. So here goes nothing, I guess. I think I'll get a little closer here. There we go. Talk about unprofessional. And with that, hi there. Welcome everybody to what was Cast Iron Wednesday. Although this week, I'm afraid I did have to postpone it to Thursday. So hello everybody, and welcome again to my kitchen here on YouTube Live, where each week I have been doing at least one live video where we get to play with cast iron here. Why? Because we can. Because it's so much fun to cook in cast iron. I've made something of a hobby of it, and I'm not the only one. There are many YouTube channels out there, especially the cooking channels, that do a cast iron video on Wednesday, and that's the reason why they call it Cast Iron Wednesday. And since it's entirely unofficial, in my case, Cast Iron Wednesday is going to be tonight on Thursday. Welcome to December, everyone. And hello to everybody who has been kind enough to show up tonight. Thank you so much. R.C. Robertson and Alma Wasilewski, if I'm pronouncing that right. Flash 1499 and Hippie Longshanks. We work to play, not play to work. Yeah, that's about how it goes, unfortunately. So, and likewise, hello, Granny Graham and Rick Stumbo and Val's Black Cat Rules. I went in search of lids for 7 and 9 Griswold pans. Didn't find anybody, but find a great place for breakfast. Well, that's something at least. You never know when those things will show up, and that's why we call it, of course, the hunt. But yes, especially since we're getting into this time of year, well, it's entirely possible you may be lucky in your hunt because, of course, everybody's getting their holiday sales out or their Christmas sales or whatever you want to call it. And that's one reason why. Welcome to December, everybody. Yeah, it is December. Thanksgiving is past us. Most of us are probably just about finished with all of our Thanksgiving leftovers. And that means we are now moving on into the preparations for that other holiday that comes at the end of the month. And yes, I know, I mean Christmas. Maybe I should just say once, I am not interested in the stupid politics regarding the war on Christmas. And I'm not even getting into that. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Joyeux Noël, Happy Hanukkah, a Merry Solstice, and midwinter. No, yeah, solstice. That's right. And basically any other holiday that follows it at this time of year. I mean, we're open to everybody because everybody loves cooking in cast iron. I mean, no matter what country you're from, even if you're in a place like, well, Japan, where we're now going to get back into the subject of this video here, because as I said in the intro here, this is a curious Japanese custom that I learned about earlier this year. Back when I was doing research for my April Fool's Day video, you may remember back at the beginning of April, I posted a video where at that time I talked about what other countries consider to be American food. You know how when you go to the supermarket and when we all go to the supermarket, there's this so-called international foods aisle, which usually is full of stuff by Goya and maybe a few other things that probably people in those other countries have actually never heard of. So, but it's what they call international foods. Whereas, meanwhile, outside the United States, they have some really interesting ideas of American foods and American customs. And one of them, as I learned, actually takes place in Japan, and that's why we are here talking about Christmas in Japan, where in Japan for Christmas, you know what they celebrate Christmas with? Fried chicken. And that is funny little story in itself because the Japanese fried chicken tradition is strictly marketing. It's entirely a cultural thing and has very little to do with the religious aspect of Christmas. But as I said, we are not here to get into the religious aspects of it. What we are here to say is that they have a lot of fun doing it, and so it's weird. But hey, we've got our own weird Christmas traditions here in the United States as well. I mean, you can go on about how commercialism really has shaped our Christmas for who knows how long, and after all, our kids are really probably more excited about Santa than anything else. But okay. I know I keep coming back to a subject that sounds like religion, but I guess that's inevitable because really, you know what they say, that's what Christmas is all about, Charlie Brown. So, having rambled on about that enough, yes, it's true that in Japan, they celebrate Christmas with fried chicken. And as far as I'm concerned, any excuse for fried chicken is a good excuse. And so, because of that, let's take a look at our Japanese tradition here and make ourselves up some fried chicken to begin this Christmas season. The funny thing is, if you actually do some research into this, and while I'm talking, I think I'm going to get started now with actually preparing some fried chicken. That means, of course, we've got to do our preparations. I'm not even sure if I'm going to need this, but got everything else ready here, including the chicken and our two bowls for dredging here. Because the best way to make chicken, to have a good crust on the chicken, is to double dip. But also, I'm going to do one other thing tonight that I haven't done before, but it's been strongly recommended. Not only am I going to double dip for the crust, I'm also going to double fry it. You know, in the same way that you double dip your you fry your French fries twice to get them nice and crisp. We're going to do the same thing here with some fried chicken. And so let's get started. One means we get to toss this around here. But yeah, as I said, fried chicken for Christmas in Japan is a funny little story that really began in the 1970s when at that time KFC in particular was doing its best to make its inroads into Japan. And well, somehow they got lucky in that they managed to stumble across a little, yeah, they started a little tradition that became something of a national phenomenon. And that's something that nobody really expected to happen, or not even KFC, although they certainly do like it when that does happen. Boy, this is a big piece to start out with. Um, yeah, because the thing is of course, I mean, some folks may know this story that at that time in the early 19 no, about 1974 it was one of the one of the managers of the first KFC restaurant in Japan managed to strike a deal with a local school in that they agreed that, you know, we will we'll deliver you some KFC fried chicken for your Christmas celebration. And they said, oh, that's great. But yeah, we'll only do it if you deliver it yourself dressed as Santa Claus. Well, of course, being a good marketer, naturally, he did not say no to it. And that's what he did. He dressed up as Santa, brought some buckets of the fried chicken to that school, and they had it and they enjoyed it, and everybody had a good time, and it caught on. Other schools, elementary schools, started asking the same thing if they could do fried chicken at with their Christmas, and it just started growing and growing. And that, in fact, believe it or not, was almost 50 years ago. It was 1974. So, kind of like a viral meme we see today, it just started growing and growing to become something of a phenomenon to the point where now, as they say, in Japan, um, KFC and indeed the chicken industry in Japan probably does about 10% of their entire yearly business in the weekend of Christmas. So yeah, it is a huge deal for them. You know, much like Black Friday. I mean, Christmas in Japan is definitely their Black Friday or their Black Weekend. So, oh, by the way, let me see. I am doing some chicken drumsticks here, but no, not drumsticks. I'm sorry. I'm doing chicken thighs here, but also today I came across some. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to get my hands dirty for this one. I also was lucky enough at the supermarket in that they were trying to get rid of their Thanksgiving turkey pieces, in that they had like half off on their turkey drumsticks. So I couldn't resist it, and I got a and I got a package of 3 turkey drumsticks, which I figured might as well just simply do them up the same way we're going to do here. So this is not just going to be a chicken drumstick, but it's going to be a huge turkey drumstick. So this is going to be interesting. Funny, that's kind of like a little story in itself, and this is a weird one as well. I learned this one. This is a little awkward, I'm afraid. Oh boy, I hope I'm not running out of the the eggs already. But here's another story, and then after this, I'll stop talking and say hi to everybody. You may know the comedian Patton Oswalt. In fact, he's got this thing about Kentucky Fried Chicken. He's got this really funny skit where he made fun of the KFC, what do you call those things, the famous bowls, that's it, where he yeah, and that became his own viral meme, and that everybody knows about the KFC famous bowl bit. Well, in a follow-up to this, he described that he managed to be privy to some of the marketing experiments that KFC was doing, and one of which apparently they were testing out in like the Midwestern United States was this thing they called the mega leg, which apparently is a chicken drumstick the size of a turkey drumstick. That sounds interesting, and I would have liked to have seen it, but I never. But so far, I haven't heard of anything outside that comedy bit, unfortunately. So yeah, this is definitely going to be really something of a mega leg. Okay, well, let me take a moment for a second here. And meanwhile, I got to be careful because the oil is getting just whoa. Definitely have to be careful. And hello, Rick Stumbo. That will Rich fit in a 12-inch skillet, 10-inch skillet. Where you live on Cape Cod? Well, no, I was never. If you're talking about me, I never did live on Cape Cod. I'm afraid. Um, I lived in mid-state Massachusetts, let's just say, and this summer I relocated to New York State, and that's where I am right now. So, yeah, that means I'm experiencing my first winter in New York, and I realize the worst is yet to come. But then again, it was like that in New England as well. We usually, I mean, while we're definitely starting to get into colder weather, like in New England, we usually would not have our first major storm. Come on, what is going on now? Ugh, turn this thing over. There. We would usually not have our first major storm until about January or so. So I'm still kind of bracing for that. So far, it's been it's been a lot of fun. All right, now that I've spent some time talking about chicken and about Japan and about Patton Oswalt, I guess I should say something about cast iron, namely that at this point we are getting close to ready to fry here in this Birmingham Stove and Range number 8. This is a vintage chicken fryer, in fact. This was one of those scores that I was lucky enough to do at the Brimfield Antique Show in Massachusetts. I've already made some use of it, and I'm more than happy to have an excuse to bring this one back out again. Yeah, this is a chicken fryer from BSR's Red Mountain days. We're talking like anywhere between the 1930s to maybe the 1960s. Now, this was became their Sportsman series chicken fryer. But this particular one does not have any logo on it. It does not say Sportsman under the handle, as many of the smaller fryers did. So I was only lucky enough to recognize it because I recognized the shape of the handle. This is actually a pretty unusual piece, and I'm quite happy to have come across it. All right, I think I'll do one more, and then I guess we will get started from there. Yeah. Wow. I think either these things must have absorbed a lot of milk, or maybe I had my um, perspective wrong because these chicken pieces all are turning out to be much bigger than I expected. So I guess that's another reason why I'm looking forward to frying these things. These are going to be some pretty big pieces of chicken. But yeah, I've got the oil heating up, and as I said, this is going to be a little different in that I'm going to be frying them twice, and it looks like I guess I'm going to be doing this in batches anyway, so that's also good. It looks like I am going to have to break out some more eggs though after this. Fortunately, I'm lucky because at this point I happen to have plenty of eggs. All right, we are just about done. So far, so good. Let me scrape these bits off. Ugh. Oh, good. It looks like the vent fan has started up automatically, and I'm really glad to see that because I do believe we are getting ready to fry. If you don't succeed, fry again. So let's pull over here, clear off some space, and here is the first set of chicken. I've got 5 rather big pieces of chicken too. Boy, I did not expect them to be this big. Okay. All right. So that means I do believe there's no time like the present. Well, actually, let me double check the temperature first. Oh yeah, it would help if I turned this on, wouldn't it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yikes. Wow, I got this thing way too high. How the heck did that happen so fast? Okay, we definitely better get this cold chicken in there quickly to bring the temperature down. Wow. The last time I measured it, it had barely reached 300 degrees. All right, I've brought down the burner temperature as well. And away we go. 1, 2, 3. Come on. Whoa. Definitely got to watch myself here. All right. Careful. I'm definitely not expecting this. And just to be safe, with the way I'm surprised with the way this grease is going. I really do not want there to be a grease fire. Get that out of the way. Wow. I definitely have to be careful here. That grease splattered a lot more than I expected. Holy cow. All right. Yeah, now things are looking okay right now. But can't be too careful here. All right, yeah, things are looking all right. Phew. That definitely caught me by surprise. Boy, and I only have, what do I have? 1, 2, 3 pieces in here. There's definitely room in that I could do a 4th. And I'm only going to be frying this for a few minutes anyway, because as I said, my intention was and still is, here's the 4th piece, to fry these twice. But I definitely got to watch myself. All right. Okay, no, things look okay right now. After that initial explosion, the rest of it does not seem so bad. But at the same time, I'm glad I'm using a deep fryer here and not just a shallow skillet. Okay, put more in, says Honey Badger. Yeah, no, hello, Papa Dan, and yes, you weren't late, Wyoming Yeti. Can you ladle some oil out of there? That might be a possibility. Um, Still think, yeah, things aren't looking too badly right now. However, I kind of like your suggestion. Let me see if I can quickly dig up an extra bowl. All right, there we go. Okay. And I need a metal ladle. Yeah. Yeah, no, I think so far, the times I've made fried chicken, this is the first time I've seen an overflow in a deep fryer like this. Careful, careful, careful. This is very, very hot. I'm talking to myself as I say that. And especially, I do not want this to spill. I also don't want to get water on it into it. So, all right. But there we go. Now from here, we have one more piece. If nothing else, this should certainly help to lower the temperature of the oil. Okay. Yeah. I forgot frying chicken is a lot of work. You can't, I mean, largely because of the supervision, and you have to be, well, careful. Right. But things are looking a lot more under control now, if that so far. And now that we've done that, if we check the oil temperature now, yeah, actually at this point, the temperature is just now about 350 degrees. So definitely the oil temperature has gone down, which is good. And yet it's still definitely hot enough to fry this chicken. While we're doing that, okay, let me see if I can dredge up a couple more pieces of chicken, or is that all of them? I hope not. No, actually, I have about not too many more pieces. That's good. I didn't go overboard, so to speak, in that I don't have like 20 pieces of chicken there, which is good to know. What I have left so far, I guess I am going to need this other rack. Looks like no more than about another piece of chicken and 2 more drumsticks. So based on that, I should probably just do these pieces and then do the drumsticks. That's starting to sound like a plan here. All right. So far, so good. And there should be just enough room to fit one more piece in. There we go. Do not want to flare up. All right, good. Phew. Okay. Hard part, I hopefully is over with. What is your job? I am a cubicle slave, and that's about all I'm going to say on the internet. Because anything you say on the internet will be there forever, and I don't want this coming back in another 5 years and biting me on the butt. Like searing a steak finished in the oven. Well, there is that possibility as well. I fry it and then bake it. Much better chicken. Did you get buried in snow? Turner Fowler. No, actually, we have barely had more than a dusting of snow. We have completely missed that bit of that huge blizzard that buried Buffalo. We have not seen anything at all like that. The most I have seen, as I said, has been barely a dusting. In fact, there was some of that just this morning. There was like maybe a slight coating of snow on the porch, and that already melted, in fact. So, oh, and on the lawn. So, no, things are still doing pretty good in this part of the state. That's what I mean. Winter has barely begun here. And as I said, I know the worst is yet to come. Still, Boy, check this out already. And no, I know very well that this chicken is not done yet. So, boy, this stuff is like, wow, look at this crust. Okay, I should say what I did was I put spice in the buttermilk that I soaked the chicken in. Then I double dipped it in the batter. Oh yeah, and I also used the trick of mixing cornstarch in with the with the breading as well. So that probably helped. Okay. Also, probably putting it in that much higher temperature may have affected it as well. As I see that this piece here is nowhere near as dark, which I guess is good. Let's get this over here. This last one, it looks like we just need to flip around. Okay, that's good. All right, phew. Rick Stumbo, my butter pat 10-inch and my stove 4-quart Dutch oven. 4-quart Dutch oven. Well, they both sound good. Yeah, cornstarch helps it to be crispier. Oh, this is definitely going to be crisp. I have no doubt at all about that. Will you be at the Cornbread Festival in 2023? I'm hoping so. It depends on how things turn out, and especially if I can manage for a way to take care of the cats while I'm gone. That's one difference that I was. One difference between now and then, unfortunately. I have cats and they are kids, which means I can't leave them for several days at a time. Always room for one more piece. Oh, wait, that's eating. And besides, like I said, I'm not done here yet anyway. I am going to be frying this up a second time. So that's why, even though the color on this doesn't look like it's ready, that's because, again, we are not quite done yet. Anyway, that's as I said, that's the first batch. Once again, we're not finished yet because as this chicken rests, as they say, some moisture is going to seep out or leak out of the chicken, and that's why we're after this we are going to fry it a second time. However, before we do that, I have a couple more pieces to do, and then we should be all ready. Where is that? Here we are. And that is, here's one drumstick. Not even sure if I'm able to get any more of this egg wash on it, but it's nice and soaked anyway. So let's mix this in with the breading as best as we can. All right. Probably should have used a wider bowl for this now that I'm thinking of it. Unfortunately, it's a little late for it. So, come on. Well, we will see how these things turn out. And besides, they're turkey. So even if I can't get them completely coated in the breading, it should still be okay. And two. This one here, in fact, I think I should recoat. Yeah, that looks a little better already. And then, if I'm seeing this right, I should have only one more piece. No, actually, I'm wrong. Holy cow. I've got more chicken than I know what to do with. Okay, that's all right. We've got one last piece of drumstick here. As they say, we'll make it work. But anyway, as getting back to the subject, as I said, this is, well, what they do in Japan at Christmas, where, as it's been pointed out as well, the Christianity is a very minority religion in Japan. I mean, they say only maybe about 1% of the total population is actually practicing Christian there. So, yet, nonetheless, they've still caught on with the Christmas festivities more because of the fun of it than anything else. And well, that's really not a bad thing because any excuse to have fun, I guess you could say, is a good excuse. And that's why if you look on if you look up the subject of Christmas, Japan, and chicken, you will see they have lots and lots of specials for well, fried chicken, especially Kentucky Fried Chicken, where in fact Colonel Sanders is probably more popular than Santa Claus in Japan. Although fried chicken is not the only thing they do in Japan for Christmas. They also do cakes there. There is a special Christmas cake in Japan. Something else that I should try making as well. That is a cake that after it's frosted, you then use strawberries in it. Yeah, and that certainly sounds like your typical Christmas, not Christmas. That certainly sounds like a typical Asian-made cake if you've ever eaten at an Asian bakery. Okay, do these last three pieces, and we will be able to go on to step two. One, careful. Two, yay for a deep fryer, that's for sure. And three, there. Haha, made it fit. Ooh, well, that was fun. All right. Okay, things seem to be much more under control here. This oil is not splattering. Probably lowering the level of the oil certainly helped. Thank you very much for the suggestion on that. So I'd say things are, again, doing okay now. Which means now let's take another look here. Popeye's spicy is awesome. Watch that cold. The new strain of the flu can feel like a cold. Geez, that's a drumstick. Yeah, that's a turkey drumstick. As I mentioned, at Price Chopper today, I came across a package of, well, they were selling several packages of turkey parts, especially drumsticks, and they were like half off because, trying to get rid of their Thanksgiving stock. And that's why I could not resist, and I picked up a couple of them just to see, well, why not? Let's try up a couple of turkey drumsticks. Yet another thing I should do at some point in the future, and that would be make what they call Disney's turkey drumsticks. Although those fried turkey drumsticks have been around a long time before Disneyland. Just Disney, like everything else, they appropriated them. Papa Dan says you got pounded by rain, but at least you're still there. Honey Badger, I wonder if they get Chinese food in Japan like some do here. Yeah, that's hard to say. I have a friend who is Jewish, and because all the stores are closed and everything on Christmas Day, his Christmas tradition has been to take his family out for Chinese, to Chinatown every Christmas. And he's not the only one, too. There is apparently a humorous meme that's been going around on the internet for several years, in which this Chinese restaurant in Chinatown, they posted what they say is message to the Jewish people. While we do not understand your customs, we thank you to your God for encouraging you to enjoy our food. And hey, that's nice. Things like that I like. People being nice to each other. Wow. This is turning out to be quite a drumstick, I'll say that. Therefore, I don't want to drop it here. Yeah, this is turning out to be something, all right. I'm going to have to do these deep fried turkey legs by themselves at some point. Wow. All right, hit me with a piece of that bread and oil butter. Okay, meanwhile, as Keith Brookshire, I'm currently munching on cornbread from my no-notch lodge number 7. Well, nice. Oh, yeah, I think you mentioned it on one of these chats a couple of weeks ago as well, a no-notch lodge number 7. Congratulations on that find. That would have to date to the very earliest days of lodge, maybe from sometime after its founding in 1896 at least until the Blacklock foundry was after the foundry was rebuilt after Blacklock burned down, which would have been 1905, I think. But either way, we're talking the very, very earliest 20th century. So yeah, that cornbread has history, and that is a good thing too, if you ask. Terry Sinchef, Nordic Ware has racks that fit half sheet pans and three-quarter sheet pans. Ask me how I know. Well, I don't know. Terry, how do you know? Do you find the oil heats more evenly with the gas versus electric burner? Well, remember that it's still a burner, meaning that in the center, the oil is still a little cooler, but I guess you're asking if it's better distributed. And I think it's hard to say. I would like to say yes, because I am very much enjoying my oven here. But no, actually, rather than wondering, let's take a look. Let's bring out the old thermometer again, shall we? Right here over the burner, the oil is showing right now at about 297 or just over 300. Well, good. The temperature has dropped significantly. Over on this end, it is showing 305, 306, 307. Whereas in the center here, and I don't want to touch the meat, it's still showing about 30. Whoa, sorry about that, my hand. It's still showing about 303. So that's really not that much of a temperature difference. I would have to say, therefore, it looks like maybe the oil is being distributed more evenly here. I don't know if it's because of a gas stove or what. May also have to do with my stove being level, perhaps, or nearly level. But either way, I hope that helps to answer your questions. All right, what else do we have here? If I could go back in time, I'd started with BP. I'd have started with BP, says Rick Stumbow. Cast iron and size doesn't matter. Well, size does matter, actually, because these big pots I find to be a lot more versatile in some ways. Val's Black Cat's rules. I was burning some wings once and had it boil over on a gas stove. Yeah, glad it didn't ignite. Yeah, I know. That's something I definitely have to consider. I better be careful here. In fact, once this is done, things look like they're under control right now, but I better make sure I clean up any oil that's that's too close to the burner. Okay. Home goods is all kinds of Nordic ware. You try to get busted in the head by lightning. What's the gas bill like? Is gas less expensive than electric? As a matter of fact, in my town, it's the same company, the same power company, NYSEG, New York. I forget what the SEG stands for. Something electric and gas. They handle both. So fortunately, I only get one bill. I think if I figure right, the amount I'm paying for electricity and gas probably is no more in this entire home. It's probably no more than what I was paying for utilities in that stupid 2 to 3 room apartment I was living in back in Massachusetts. Uh-oh. Okay, so I see it. We've got a spammer here. And hide user in timeout. And what else do we have? Sorry about that, folks. I saw a spammer came in. Put user on timeout. There's nothing here that actually says to ban a user, believe it or not. So users' messages will be hidden. There we go. Finally. Sorry about that. Natural gas is cheaper, but propane is fairly high. Yeah, there is that. So when I was looking at houses, there were a couple of possibilities that came up for a home with an outside propane tank, but this one just turned out to be what I felt was probably the most convenient. All right, well, wow, listen to that. Listen to that, folks. Okay, but we're probably at the point here where I should get this out onto a rack. Boy, I hope this thing fits. All right. I get it more over this way. Here's hoping I can get this thing out without causing too much of a mess. Like I said, I'm not done yet. Holy cow, this is big. In fact, this is not going to fit all three of them, is it? All right. Fortunately, no, the flame is not on this side. I can see I'm going to have to improvise. So here's another one. Oh, yeah. And the last one. Wow. Here we go. Ooh, that's hot. That wasn't very smart. Okay. Well, that's step number one, it looks like. I think I better check the temperature of the oil here because I know I have to wait for the oil to get back up to 350. And then we're going to give it a second fry. 279, 290, 294, 300. And on this end, it's going 310, 311, 312. It's actually a little warmer on this side. Not much. It looks like we have a few minutes here. Boy, as I said, I did not expect the oil to climb so high so fast at the beginning. Definitely, it's still me still getting used to this gas stove. The stove oven has to be jetted properly. Must come equipped for MFG for manufacturing. Or MFG for manufacturing gas. I live in a total electric house. Always keep my fingers crossed that electricity doesn't go out in storms. Well, if absolute worst comes to worst, you've got your Dutch ovens. You could always cook the old-fashioned way. Although I rarely do outdoor cooking as well. It's yet another thing I have to get back into. Thomas Holcroft and Sons apparently made hand grenades. Where I live, electric is super expensive, 4 to 7 p.m., so cooking dinner is my highest electric expense. And I know that feeling all too well. Do you have a recommendation for 8x8 or 8x12 cast iron baking pans? Okay. Depending on what you want to use them for. Lodge has just come out with a new series of baking pans, and everybody knows that Lodge cast iron is some of the best quality you can get, so that's certainly to consider. There are enameled baking pans out there as well, enameled cast iron baking pans that are also very nice, and I've used them. I have one as well. Mine is a 9x13 as well. So recommendations. Um, it's really hard to recommend one brand above another in general because cast iron in general is pretty darn good no matter what brand you get. Cheap, so-called cheap Asian-made cast iron will cook your food just great. Expensive USA cast iron will cook your food just great. There are other advantages as well, but the best recommendation I could say would be you don't have to pay full price. You know, at places like Bed Bugs and Beyond, you look around, it's not too difficult really to find a bargain in one way or another for the piece you're looking for. If you're looking for one brand new, it would probably be easier to find than finding a vintage one. But if you're lucky, you may well get lucky and actually manage to score a vintage piece of in the manner that you are looking for. 8x8, for instance, would be what we would see in a Lodge or even a Wagner square pan. All right here it's 325. Oops, right here it's 330. You better turn this front burner up a tiny bit so that it can catch up and that we can have even heating. Now, as I said, the idea of this double frying is that as it sits here, although this still feels pretty crispy, this chicken could eventually become more soggy, and that's the main reason why we're going to fry it a second time, so that that will, well, again, remove a fair amount of the moisture and give us about as crispy a crust as we can get. And I'm especially looking forward to doing it with these turkey drumsticks as well. Hmm. There is a Japanese type of fried chicken as well called, how am I pronouncing it right? Karage? I can't even pronounce it. I'm sorry about that. But they do it a little bit differently in that instead of using flour for their breading, they use a starch coating, usually potato starch or rice starch, or sometimes cornstarch, but more often potato or rice. And they do the same thing. They do the double frying as well, once and then a second time. So this technique. I'm not sure if this technique originally came from Asia, or if it's just one of those things that is known worldwide here. Honey badger, me too. It was rough, but it was well packaged, unlike other lodge I've ordered. Oh, really? Yeah, ordering, wait a second, very inconsistent, some very smooth, some sharp and rough. Double frying the chicken. Interesting. Never done that technique. Yeah, this is my first time trying it as well. I saw it recently on not one but two of my favorite cooking channels recently, and that intrigued me enough to give that a try. In that I had wanted to do this Japan fried chicken thing for several months because, as I said, this is like the Japanese Christmas thing, but only recently on two of my favorite cooking channels, Omnivorous Adam and Brian Lagerstrom. Both of them recently did that. They made a fried chicken dish where they double fried the chicken, and it was interesting enough that I wanted to give that a try. And I've said enough times, I'm not a professional here. I'm not like, hey, I'm going to show you how to do this. In my case, most of the time, including tonight, has been more like me trying it to see how it turns out. I must be in a different time zone. It's only 7:45 here. Yeah, I guess you are. Celine 77 star 99. Here it is 8:45, and yeah, chicken on a wood spoon or on a stick. So yeah, I'm in New York, and we are at Eastern Standard Time. In your case, you must be on Central Time then. Okay, my cooktop is gas with electric ignition as well. If the electric goes out, I could light my burners with a lighter. Yeah, actually, I haven't had a power outage yet. I've only been living here for a few months now, but I haven't seen a power outage yet. But yes, you give a good point. I have to consider things like that if the power ever does go out. So far, things have seemed pretty reliable. I've not, but as I said, this is going to be my first winter here in this home, so I will see what it's like when we get some real snowstorms. I'm just happy that I can park my car in a garage for the first time in my life. I mean, it was only a couple of weeks ago when the thought just hit me just like that. Hey, I've got a garage. I can park my car in the garage and I'm not going to have to shovel it out. So that's something. Hmm, hmm. Hello, Cynthia Wesley. That's all right. Enjoy your food. I think it's pronounced karage. Yeah, that sounds right. Karage chicken. That sounds like how you did it. I mean, how they pronounce it. I think you are correct there. So we should be getting close at this point. Temperature now 330, 346, 356. Holy cow, it's climbing fast. We're definitely time for the second and final fry here. So yeah, it's already cooled enough for me to touch, and in fact, it does feel a little bit soggy. We've got a good crust, but it's definitely soggy. So that means let's put it back in. One, two, three. Unfortunately, that high oil. Ooh, now careful there. Four. Okay, I think now it's time to get the tongs. The high temperature of the oil that I accidentally got it to may have, I shouldn't say burned, but may have browned the crust a little more than I wanted it to be. There we go. And just enough. These are big pieces of chicken, yet I'm still able to fit 6 of them in here, so we're doing pretty good. Now at this point, I'm just gonna fry them until done. My experience with frying chicken is that at this point, I'm going to fry them until the temperature reaches about 170 to 180, because this is dark meat. And dark meat really doesn't dry out in the manner that white meat does. On the other hand, you get a higher temperature like that, it becomes more like fall off the bone, much more tender. And I like my dark meat at a higher temperature for that reason. So really, it's just going to be a matter of measuring the temperature more than anything else. Corey Clark, we lost power today for an hour. A squirrel committed suicide on the power line. Oh, poor guy. I never would have thought of double frying. That's exactly what I'm doing, trying it on camera right now. These are the same pieces of chicken, and they've just gone in for the second fry. Yeah, well, it must be because it's getting into that time of year. Because in fact, when I got up this morning, I saw my cats had killed a mouse for the first time in this new home. I had not seen any sign of any mice until this morning, when suddenly there was one lying on the floor. The cats had done their duty on it. They must have done it earlier in the evening, because they had left it alone. I had no trouble at all throwing it out. Trouble is a really good mouser. He started catching mice at a good young age. But then again, that was one of the reasons why we got cats in the first place in that old apartment. We were getting overrun by mice in that old apartment there. Being in the middle of the city in a first floor, it was pretty much inevitable. However, the mice were bold in that we put out poison traps and they just sniffed it and turned their noses up at it. It was at the point that they were coming out in the middle of the floor, basically giving us the finger and going, ha ha, and then running away. So finally, we had enough, and that was when we got our cats. And boy, did they start doing their job. Trouble in particular. My dog is a great mouser. Well, I hope he doesn't eat too many of them, especially since you never know what could be in that mouse, unfortunately. How long to fry for the second dip? Well, the ones I've seen only fried the second time for a couple of minutes. Me, I'm going to once again keep track of the temperature here. And when it reaches the right temperature, then we know it's done. Which means I should probably start checking the temperature right now. Let's pull out one piece. Ooh. Oh, wow. I'm barely, okay, there we go. Yeah, well, okay, I'm not sure if that's just from the hot oil or what, but it's already telling me 190. On the other hand, if I sink it in over here, this one says one, oh, no, this one is definitely going up there. I think we may already be done here. This one is already hitting 190. Of course, I have to be sure I didn't hit a bone or anything like that. So if I sink it in over here, yeah, it's pretty much telling us the same thing. Okay, I guess that means it's done. That didn't take long, which is good because that means I can get on with those turkey drumsticks. Some of these have some, as I said, they have a much darker color than I expected, largely because I made a mistake at the beginning and let the oil get up to over 400. That was my fault. I did not expect the temperature to climb so fast. When this live first started, the oil was just below 300. And yet, when I checked it only a few minutes later, it had already jumped up to over 400. Still, nonetheless, there we go. All right. These are huge freaking pieces of chicken. I did not expect them to be this big. Ugh. This rate, I'm going to be eating chicken for the next week here. Because looky here, we've got ourselves some Christmas fried chicken. And it's only the beginning of December, which means now comes part 2. Let's try to do this in a manner where I don't burn myself. Here's the turkey. 1, 2, and 3. There we go. I may want to try. Whoa, listen to this again. Wow. Can you hear that on this microphone? I may be more interested in trying these turkey drumsticks even before the chicken. It's not that I'm disappointed or anything with the fried chicken, but I've had fried chicken a lot more than I've had fried turkey, especially turkey drumsticks. I am definitely going to have to do this again with turkey. All right. Sprinkle some slap your mama on it. Oh yeah, good point. Now that it's out of the now that this is out of there, putting on some pepper. And a little bit of salt. Funeral potatoes? I haven't heard of that one yet. Also, of course, some people, I mean, there are a number of families, of course, who do put on big spreads at funerals. And why not? I mean, funerals, yes, they are very sad times, but on the other hand, there's no reason why you can't put out a nice feast at a funeral. Well, just help cope, I guess. That's probably the best way to describe it. Yeah, so far so good. The spreading is also sticking to these drumsticks, so I'd say we're not doing too badly. Let's try turning this over. I don't think that's going to work. Okay. All right. Try Cavenders all Greek seasoning sometime. I grew up in the sticks. If I didn't want to wait to heat it up in the oven, then you ate it cold. Well, cold chicken is good in itself too. I've had cold chicken. Chicken, yeah, I can eat fried chicken right out of the fridge. Yeah, you're not the only one. I mean, fried chicken is one of those perfect foods. You can pretty much eat it no matter what. You can eat it fresh. Well, if it's not too hot, like we're doing it here, you can eat it after it's been sitting in a greasy box from KFC or Crown Fried Chicken. You can eat it out of the fridge. It's fried chicken. What can you say? But the one thing I don't like is when my fried chicken is overdone and burned and the bones are black. And I hope I didn't do that tonight. Yeah, after funeral fast food. Yep, cold chicken in the South is after funeral. Oh, repast food. That's what you said. Okay, there it is. Yeah. I could help turn cold chicken is perfect picnic food. There is that too. And thank you very much, Hippie Longshank. You didn't have to. I would rather have cold chicken than reheat it. Well, there is that too. About the only thing that's worse to reheat than fried chicken would be donuts. You simply cannot reheat donuts. Funeral potatoes are the ones with frozen hash browns, cream of chicken soup, sour cream topped with crushed cornflakes mixed with melted butter. Well, that sounds pretty good, actually. As I said, I guess you could call it comfort food then, meant really to, well, if not cheer people up, at least to help make them feel a little better. And why not? Careful here. Do not want to get oil all over the place. Ow! Son of a... Like just now. Okay. Ugh. My bad for saying that. Oh well. So it goes. Yeah. Oh well. Looks like I got a little bit of a splash, but that's okay. As you can see, it's, I better bring this back a little bit. It's a little bit red, but yeah, not a big deal. I mean, it was barely a splash, nothing serious. So, all right, where were we? I guess I better try again though. With that, do this right, shall we? There we go. Wow. On the other hand, the temperature is actually dropping. It's actually showing as 148 right now, 147, 146. So believe it or not, this turkey is not done yet. So I put some ice on it. All right. Let's do that. Well, thank you for the advice, folks. And I am taking that to heart. I don't know, it's probably a first degree in that I've got a little bit of redness now. It's been a couple of minutes. All right. But as I said, nothing too serious, fortunately. I don't think I have aloe on me. I'm gonna have to look and see if I got any suntan lotion with aloe in it. Fried chicken fingers. Yes, exactly. Okay. I mentioned this already, but yeah, I do like as well using these big, deep cast iron pots for things like deep frying here, because despite my little mishap just now, I'd say having this deep pot probably has kept this a little bit more under control than if I had used a shallow pot. I mean, after all, again, at the beginning, I made a mistake and the oil started bubbling up a lot more than I expected. If I had used something shallow like a skillet, there would have been, well, probably a lot more splatter than there actually was. Yeah, cold water works. That's my intention here. And since we're getting in December at least, well, we really have no shortage of cold water. Fortunately, I will say again, this is not too serious. Thank goodness. All right, back to business here. I've heard put some mice on it. Yes, the cats would love that. Yeah, that would mean their second mouse today. All right. Now at this point, get to give this one more try carefully. There we go. Got a good grip on it now. Okay. 152, 151. Really? I'm surprised. It's we're still only at about 150 here. Let me check. Let me double check that. Well, this one here says 155. Okay. Well, all right. There we go. I guess turkey is simply tougher than chicken. So at this point, I guess I better just hold tight for a few minutes. One Pan Man. Yeah, One Pan Man is in the chat tonight. Well, hello. Oh, yes, here we are, the Jay Leno channel. Yeah, just about. This is the Tonight Show, all right. I don't have a chin the way Jay Leno does, but I'm sure you can probably laugh at some of my antics tonight. Before you got in this deep fryer, what did you use more to fry chicken? Regular skillet, chicken fryer, or Dutch oven? I generally use Dutch oven. I agree. Way back when I first started frying chicken in cast iron, I was using my cast iron wok, the large cast iron wok, and that actually did a good job It was nice and deep, and it had a lot of surface space. So that's one other thing to consider, using a wok for frying chicken. But skillet fried chicken can produce a really big mess, unfortunately. And so if you have an option other than using a skillet, I would definitely recommend it for that reason. That's another reason why I was so psyched to be able to come across a second one of these deep fryers. The first one, the other one, the Lodge deep fryer, I've used a number of times, and I've done videos on that as well. But then, of course, as I said enough times already, I came across this BSR deep fryer earlier this year, which really is, I consider it to be a really good find. So I'm doing my best to get as much use of it out of as possible. But yes, if you're going to deep fry, definitely use a deep pot, whether it's a Dutch oven or a wok or a cauldron. And it can be enamel too as well. Enamel is fine for deep fry. But it certainly helps to cut down on the mess. Boneless chicken frying is much easier than this bone-in frying. I will say that. It cooks much faster and much more evenly. So you will definitely not have any, boneless chicken frying, it probably only takes a few minutes, I think, to wash it all off. Not wash it off, to finish completely frying it. So it's in and out of the oil, probably within the space of about 5 minutes. I don't know why I said wash it off just then. All right. Got to be getting close to done by this point. So the waiting game more than anything else. How many quarts is the roaster? I measured it a few years ago, in fact, and it gave me, it seemed to come out to about 10 quarts. However, based on this here, I actually put 4 quarts of oil in it tonight, and it seemed to come up more than halfway. So that would have to suggest this is probably closer to between 7 and 8 quarts. So that's not so bad. Still plenty of room, though. Be careful. Do not want there to be another mishap like that. There we go. $154, $153. Am I doing this right? Oh yeah, bam. See, I must have been doing it wrong. If you look at this, suddenly we're up to 180 here. That seems much more likely, especially since this is turkey, which means what I should do, turn off the burner first. Thank goodness. So much for the fire hazard. And away we go at last. There we go. This one definitely looks well done here. All right, and finally, the last one. All right, it's going to take a while for these to cool off. I've no doubt about that. And then there's the oil. Oh, yeah, that's one other thing. A couple of months ago, the last time I deep fried, after it all cooled off, I put it in a bucket in the garage and I mixed lye in with the oil. Did a great job turning it into soap. A very dirty soap of the kind that I would not want to wash with. But it is good and solid, which means that probably once I fill it up with the oil from here, I'll just be able to take the whole bucket and throw it out in the trash. It's not grease, it's soap. So it's much more environmentally safe and better to throw out. So were you measuring too close to the bone? Reading will be lower. Well, there is that possibility. Now that it's out of the oil, try again, see what we get. Let's move it over here where it's definitely not in the bone. Come on. This one here still says 187, 188. And if we push this over here, this one says 177, 176. So this one still looks like it's done. And this last one over here is also saying 172, 171. So I would still say that, yes, this actually is properly cooked. So we have no risk of it being underdone. How do you cover it as it cools so the cats don't get near it? My cat, oh, good, the vent just turned off. You should be able to hear me better. My cats are interesting like that. They turn their noses up at almost all human food. And believe me, I've tried feeding them to them. It's like, here, I'm eating this. You want it? You want to try it? And even Trouble and Mobley, they will turn their noses up at just about everything. I've seen Mobley nibble on some cooked bacon, but that was about it. Trouble, on the other hand, loves raw meat. When I start preparing chicken or turkey or ground beef, preparing it for cooking, he comes right up and he starts with a purr and starts climbing right up my leg. And I give him a tiny little piece and he is all over it. When it's cooked, they don't touch it. But when it's raw, Trouble goes crazy for it. So fortunately, I'm not too worried about them nibbling on this cooked turkey. When you deep fry in your aluminum Dutch oven, do you get a metal taste in your food? I have not yet deep fried in my Dutch oven. Because I guess it's because I have all this cast iron here. So far, all I've used my aluminum pot for really is a water boiler more than anything else. I've made pasta and rice and at least a couple of baked pasta dishes in it, but that has been oh yeah, I have also been making a lot of mashed potatoes in it. But as I said, I've been using it mostly for boiling. I have not yet deep fried in aluminum. Maybe I should try it just to see what it's like. So I'm sorry if that's not much of an answer. I'm afraid. Smart cat bacon. Yeah, my cats have their own little foibles, but then again, I know everybody's cats do. On one hand, you know how they say cats are intelligent and emperor and majestic. Neither of my cats are. I've had some majestic cats, and yeah, no, neither of these are like that. Trouble is, oh, he is such a darling in that he has become so friendly. I mean, you can come up to him, pick him up, and he has never bitten or swatted or scratched any person in his life, except unintentionally when he has been frolicking around and playing with me. Sometimes he does use his claws just as he's playing around, and I have gotten a couple of little scratches in that way. But I have never seen either of these two cats become vicious. In fact, Mobley, unfortunately, she's timid. With strangers, she runs and hides. But um, I really like how friendly Trouble has become. I use my aluminum pan to thaw meat. It seems to suck the cold right out of frozen food. Well, maybe it's because aluminum is such a good conductor of heat. That's the whole point of aluminum. Yeah, as I said, it doesn't just hold in heat, it conducts it. I have a fry daddy, it's aluminum. My grandmother did all her deep fried chicken in a Wagner Magnolite deep fryer. My aunts and uncles swear by it. Yeah, well, I should really give that a try. It's one of a long list of things I guess I will have to do just to see how it turns out. I've been doing this cooking now for really, it's like I've been doing it for 12 years. Holy cow. And yet I still have such a long list of things that I want to do. So it's I mean, I'm going to be an amateur at this for the rest of my life, and I'm quite frankly enjoying it exactly for that reason. So okay, so yeah, as I said, the cat. Unfortunately, I don't have to worry about my cats nibbling on this. Now you need some potato salad. Yes, I do. My 88-year-old cousin uses his Dutch ovens for all his skillet chores, and why not? Yeah, I mean, you can do anything in a Dutch oven that you can do in a skillet, arguably better. Well, maybe some things. I don't think you can flip pancakes in the Dutch oven. So to each their own. All right, we're getting on here. And at this point, now, as I said, I'm going to have to wait for this to dry off, to cool off, probably by tomorrow, in fact. And as I said, that's what I'm going to do, meanwhile, with this extra oil. I'm going to take this out to that bucket in the garage, pour it in, mix some more lye in it, and turn it into soap, a dirty soap, so that in a few days or so, I'll be able to just put the whole bucket in a trash bag and throw the whole thing out. Nice and simple. And yeah, especially since I'm now in my own home, I am a lot more concerned than I used to be about not clogging up the drain with grease. So I am not going to be pouring this grease down the drain. I will promise you that. Stainless steel pan upside down is good for quick thawing on too. Okay, my grandmother didn't know, we said all that already, but nonetheless, there we go. So we actually double fried this chicken, and yeah, boy, is this boy, I can definitely say as well. I'm hoping you can hear this. We have got some. That's how crispy this chicken is. I may have overdone it, in fact. mm, mm. Just crunched a little bit of this breading though. Mm. Oh, I'm liking it. hmm Definitely, we've got a crispy chicken coating on it though. So as I said, that was double frying the chicken. But really, it's like these things are so big. I'm probably gonna be having like maybe one piece of chicken per day for the next week. Although even before that, I'm gonna have to try one of these turkey drumsticks. Let me say that again. I found the turkey drumsticks at Price Chopper after Thanksgiving sale. If you were to head out there now, or probably tomorrow, you may be able to get a good score on some turkey pieces as well. So that might be something to consider. Assuming, of course, you're not sick of turkey. And if you are, you have my condolences. But nonetheless, and going back again to the subject of this video, well, as I said, that's what they do in Japan. They've got an interesting tradition for Christmas, which really has very little to do with religion, and it has a lot to do with marketing and especially with having fun. And Pop, Dan, you keep frying the chicken, and I'll keep making you an ordinary Southerner. I'm gonna have to remember that. If you pour grease down the drain solidly when it hits the cold, it could solidify when it hits the cold drain pipe in the ground. Yeah, that's yet another reason not to pour the oil down the drain. And believe me, I am not going to do that. I mean, this is my house. I have to keep up with it. But like I said, that's what they do in Japan. They have a Christmas feast that consists of fried chicken, and it's based on a lie, namely that, it's like, I mean, who in the United States has chicken on Christmas? I mean, we're all into our turkey and we're into our ham, and but because the KFC marketers wanted to, well, obviously they wanted to sell more chicken. I did actually hear an interview with the guy who started all this from Japan, and he said outright that I told a lie. It was a lie. And so the whole tradition of KFC chicken on Christmas is based on a lie. Well, so it is. On the other hand, well, it's they're having fun. That's really what you can say more than anything else. Is that spammer back again? Okay, let me do that again. Sorry about that, folks. Can't believe that spammer is actually back. Hide user. There we go. My apologies, folks. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Okay, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. It's not that I'm bashing the USA. I am simply speaking the truth here when I say this, and I'm not saying it in a religious manner either. Please, if anybody is celebrating Christmas because of the religious aspect. I mean, feel free to do so. However, what can we say about when our entire Christmas season is really based more on just that, on marketing than anything else? I mean, all the way from Christmas sales that were invented by Macy's, Santa Claus being a tradition that was really started after they moved the Christmas celebration from the feast of Saint Nicholas on January 6th to the date of January 25th. It's a long December 25th. It's a long and complicated history, and there could be arguments over it if you really wanted to get into it, and I don't. But the reason why I'm saying it is that our Christmas celebration, we all know that yes, there is something real at the heart of it, namely the actual mass, of course, that takes place on Christmas. But everything else surrounding the whole Christmas season, the way that our whole economy is based on Christmas, that is really has very little to do with religion either. So if Japan wants to eat fried chicken on Christmas, I'm not going to condemn them. There's no need to. I mean, after all, again, Christmas is supposed to be a time of having fun and enjoying ourselves and feeling happy and making people happy. And so why not? If they're going to have fried chicken on Christmas, so be it. And I'm just going to enjoy it. In fact, right now, probably tonight or tomorrow, I'm going to have to start enjoying some of this fried chicken right here because there's quite a lot of it. These are big pieces. I mean, look at this. This one piece here fits up in my hand like this. So yeah, I've definitely got some chicken to work through. And of course, above all else, it was another excuse to play with cast iron. This Birmingham stove and range fryer definitely did its job, and I'm looking forward to using it many times after. Finally, at this point, if you look now, you can see maybe a little bit. Let me try. Let me turn the light this way. You can barely see maybe a little bit of redness, and that's it. So I'm doing okay. I will put more ice on it tonight, yes, but fortunately, this was nothing serious. Oh, I don't want to do it again, of course, but still, yes, you can see the red. Yeah, the red is there. I won't deny that. But it should not take, yeah, go ahead and take a big bite of the chicken, which is what I'm going to do in just a minute or so. But I can only thank everybody for showing up, especially on a Thursday. I mean, that's what I said in the first place. That I apologize, for the delay, but we will do this all again next week. So I can only thank everybody for being here tonight once again, where we've enjoyed ourselves, or I've enjoyed myself, and I hope I've done my best to entertain you as well. Playing with cast iron here, getting myself a grease burn, and making a whole bunch of fried chicken and fried turkey. And well, we can only see what happens next week as well. So thank you, everybody, again. Thank you to Ace Maduro, if I'm pronouncing that right, and Janine Neely. New names. I'm very pleased to see new names here on this channel. So thank you very much for showing up, as well as regulars like William Hurt and Pawpaw Dan. Honey Badger, Wyoming Yeti. I'm very much, as I said, I really much appreciate you folks commenting, and especially I'm thank you very much for watching. I mean, it's as I said enough times, it's doing this for all of you folks that makes these things so much fun. So I can only thank everybody for hanging around. And what can we say? We will do it all again next week. So have a good evening, everybody. Thank you very much. Hello, Jerry 1952. Thank you for showing up next week. And I'll see you all next Wednesday.